I feel great. It's a long time coming these days. The summer is really an extension of the preseason now. The spring is a recruiting time, and the summer we really feel like is when we get started. So I feel really good. I know the guys are very anxious to play. The coaches are anxious to play, and so we're happy. We're happy that it's here, and really looking forward to the game and the next 7 days or so where we have 3 games.
You have 16 fellows on the team. Are they all eligible and ready to go for the opener?
They are all eligible and ready to go. Yes.
Do you have?
Is there ineligibility anymore?
Well, yes,
Is
there
there?
are suspensions.
True.
Do you have redshirt plans for anybody that are concrete at this time?
Dylan Hominick will redshirt, freshman center from Canada. We're talking to Donovan Richardson. I think he and his parents, I think, are comfortable with him redshirting. So I think that'll be the 2 guys that we redshirt this year.
Speaking of that, football, obviously, you can play as many as 4 games and still redshirt. Do you have a push for anything along those lines in hoops?
I think if there was any normalcy, I think we would. I think it's something that a lot of coaches talk about and think about. But I just feel like everybody's just trying to adapt to the new way of doing everything, which seems like it changes, pretty drastically every month or so. So I think that's something that we'd like to get to and talk about and discuss. But so far, it hasn't really come up.
You have described A.J. Lopez as fluid. I wonder if you could elaborate on that and tell us more what you mean.
Yeah, he just has, he's a very skillful guy. He has a great change of speed. And there's nothing very, the fluidity and how he drives to the basket, converts layups, passes the ball. He's just a very under control player. So he has good speed, but he's not in a rush. He's not choppy. And he just really has nice control of his body as he's moving along the court. He's a pretty gifted scorer and somebody who can do a lot of things well. And I think being fluid helps him because he's not in a rush. He doesn't jump too soon or have too much tension in his body. He can still see the floor as he's going toward the basket and trying to score.
In this second or third season of the portal age, how much more comfortable are you and your staff with getting almost a completely brand new roster together on the same page and ready to play when it counts?
Yeah, much more comfortable. I think the first spring, it was really, it just felt, it was so different, and we're sitting there with 3 or 4 spots in May, and that's just such a different feeling. Now that's kind of how it is. There's a certain rhythm to the spring. It's intense and it moves very fast, but there is still a rhythm to it. And also, I think you have a pretty good feel of how these things are working. Additionally, we gained 2 scholarships, so every team has 2 more scholarships this year. So that changed things to a certain degree with what guys would be available and how many guys you could pursue. But I feel like we're more comfortable with it, as I'm sure everybody is.
If you have made this decision, how quickly or maybe not quickly did you come up with a starting 5 or rotations or the way that you're going to use your bench?
Yeah, well, I think we started talking about everything in the summer. The summer used to be about the development of our players, skill development, shooting, spending time developing camaraderie. And this year we said that we're preparing for November 5th. We're preparing for our first game, the very first day we were here, May 15th or 20th, whatever it was. So that has given us more time to develop what we think the best strategies are, but also the starting lineup, the first subs off the bench, how we're going to substitute, and those kind of things, because we've been in that mode thinking of that far longer than we would have in the past.
Think the guys are ready for more?
I feel like it, yeah. We've been, I think maybe it's like 70 or 75 workouts that we've had together. So as much as it's a new team, for the last 4 months or 5 months, this is, you're doing so many of the same things every day. So I think being able to play JMU last Saturday was great for us. I think this is really what everybody's looking forward to, getting started and playing a game.
Southern Virginia has a 7-footer on the roster and a 6'10" player on the roster. Has that been unusual to prepare for, given it's a D3 school?
Somewhat. I mean, they're both very young. The big kids are both young, and so it is a little bit. I think we were all a little bit surprised at their size when we first started doing the scouting, because you wouldn't anticipate size so much as speed or guys who were overlooked because they're undersized. So they're freshmen. Hopefully they'll have, they won't have a great opening game in their college career.
How's Jaden doing?
Jaden's doing great. So Jaden has probably practiced maybe for 2 to 3 weeks here. He played very well. We had a scrimmage in D.C. A couple weeks ago, and I don't think he played quite as well against JMU here, but he's doing great, and he's a difference maker type of player. Very strong, very athletic. Can really score around the basket.
Did any of your exhibitions or scrimmages cause you guys to take a look at what you thought you might have had or what might have worked and change it, or was it more fine-tuning things that you knew need to be better for the regular season?
Yeah, I think more of that, more fine-tuning. Like I said, we've scrimmaged. We've had maybe 8 intra-squad scrimmages since the summer with referees. We've done everything we can to try to get our guys used to what a game is like in the Robins Center, and so including the JMU game. So I think we had a pretty good feel for what was going on, and there are some things that naturally everybody needs to get better at. I think we've made really good strides the last 3 or 4 weeks, so we'll see how it goes as we get started.
Chris, you usually play 6, 7, 8 guys. Will that be the case this year? Do you foresee an expanded rotation?
Yeah, I think we'll play a lot of guys. I think we'll play 11 guys or so. Partly because I think the talent level is fairly evenly distributed, and I think the depth is really a strength. So I feel like a lot of coaches talk about that in July. When the season gets there, that rotation usually shrinks. But I do feel like we have a lot of guys who can contribute in a very impactful way, 1 through 12.
Perhaps do one more for Coach.
Yesterday, first day of games across the country, did you watch much? Did you see anything from officiating or learn something from like Bethune-Cookman going overtime?
Yeah, just that it felt like there was closer games at halftime, and then the home team or favored team usually pulled away, with the exception of that Auburn Bethune-Cookman game. I kept my eye on the A10 scores. I look at a box score of A10 teams and I recognize 1 or 2 names. I mean, it's just the nature of it, and you see more A10 guys and other box scores from other conferences than you do in our own league. So that's the nature of it. We'll all have to get used to that, and hopefully our guys will be recognizable here within a few weeks, and we'll be on our way.
The officials haven't told you about an emphasis on loose ball fouls that you know of?
I'm not sure. Is this a trick question?
No, the only reason I ask is because there were like 5 in the first half
Oh,
of the
really?
TCU game last night, and I just thought that was a lot. And I
How
know
about
in
that?
football, the officials will say, yeah, they've told us we need to
Yeah.
emphasize this year. But
No, I haven't heard anything specifically about loose ball necessarily, but they have. I do feel like basketball's best when they. There's an old saying: the players will adjust. So if a player's not going to commit his 3rd, 4th, 5th foul, no matter what the coach says, because he's going to adjust and he wants to be out there. And so I think calling it closely, calling it by the book, I think is probably the way to go. But the season tends to take on a life of its own, and we'll see, and we'll have to make the adjustment.
I wonder if you could compare New Hampshire to Maine, to Maine, Richmond. Comparable, much different? Where are we with that?
I feel like it's pretty similar as far as the culture-wise. I feel like everybody just puts the same agenda for the most part. But I feel like at Maine, he really empowered his guys a little bit more than New Hampshire. He let guys kind of flourish a little bit more. But as far as here, I like how Coach Mooney just holds everybody accountable, 1 through 14, or how many guys we got on the team. He holds everybody accountable. So I really like that about this school.
What is the key to progressing each season? Because a lot of guys would like to have your career arc in terms of production.
I just feel like to keep progressing, you got to keep putting work in even more. For me, I know I was coming to the A10 this year, so I try to work even harder than I did last year. So for me, just getting in the gym every day, putting up shots, and having a consistent routine throughout my years.
How would you describe this team if somebody stopped you on the street and asked you what you guys got this year?
I feel like we got a lot of interchangeable pieces. I feel like we got a lot of guys that could do a lot of different things, and I feel like we're going to be really good this year. I feel like we're going to surprise a lot of people in the A10.
is it easier, this is, you're a different program, but is it, I imagine a lot of the guys on this roster are here for the first time. How easy is it for you guys to become a team as opposed to just a roster of players?
I feel like we got a lot of guys that are similar, so we all get along pretty good. So I feel like that's one of the key parts to it. So I feel like if you got a bunch of guys that mesh together pretty well, I feel like it'll be pretty good on the court too.
But how quickly can you notice a teammate's tendencies? And, okay, I know he's going to do this, I know he likes to do that. How long does that take?
For a person like me, I feel like it doesn't take too long because we in the gym every day with each other. So I feel like for me, it took me like a month to really understand like God's tendencies and stuff like that. I mean, some guys was hurt when I first got here, so it took me a little bit longer to learn other guys' tendencies. But for the most part, just like a couple weeks, not really a long time. Yeah.
Coach just said he's going to play 10, 11 guys, which is probably a lot for any of you guys. How have you guys kind of handled, you all want to play,
Yeah.
Kind of handled that wide ranging of a rotation?
Yeah, I feel like it's just about just buying in and trying to get to the highest goal because I know like everybody has the same goal. We all want to get to the tournament. So like for us to get there, we all have to buy into the same thing. And I feel like Coach Mooney is a winning coach, and I trust whatever he believes is right. So yeah, I got faith in him.
How much did you kind of evaluate yourself in coming to Richmond by the 3 A-10 teams that you played and did well against last year, including Richmond in this
Yeah.
building?
I feel like for me, my decision really based on like how different systems was. Like for Maine and Richmond, you have like similar systems, so I feel like that was a really big thing in my choice. So we play a lot of the same defensive principles, stuff like that. Offensive principles kind of the same as well. So that's why I chose Richmond for the most part.
Did you learn anything from those 3 games against the A-10 teams about yourself and playing in this league?
Yeah, I figured I knew I could play here and thrive here, and the competition is really high at this level as well too. So I feel like it would be a pretty good stage for me. Yeah.
AJ, describe how you approach game day. Tomorrow's your first game of the year. Do you have a certain routine that you like to follow?
Yeah, I like to get here a couple hours early, get my shots up, and then I try to come like an hour before shoot around 2 and get my shots up, and then during the time we're supposed to get here on the schedule, I try to come in and just really dial in on my treatment and then get some shots up with the coach as well. So really the same routine every time.